today, Silas and I focused less on pretty little performance tasks and more on our exposure opportunities. We had a bit of a quiet moment in our treatment area in particular, so I made a point of ending our session in that space and just letting him sniff around, investigate our exam tables back there, let people talk to him, and at one point Dr. Moser even approached him and kind of gave a nice gentle hands-on exam, quote unquote, and he did really well. He was very eager to interact with them, which was nice to see, but he didn't flail around like he wants to do occasionally. So we were able to keep him in a standing position. Dr. Moser successfully touched him while I just kind of gently restrained with him against my legs. You are a killer, sir. Why don't we eat the kibble instead? Yeah. Nope. You. Anywho, we were able to just acclimate to that treatment space, get to know some of the technicians that he'll be seeing as he continues to mature and grow, and Dr. Moser even successfully did a bit of a hands-on abdominal exam while I gently restrained with him in a standing position, kind of against my legs here. All of that he tolerated really well. We even ended with a nice sit and then a down on a visual cue. So the visual cue is that hand going to the floor. He responded beautifully to it, even rolled his hips for me, and I stayed with him on the floor there, giving him a couple of treats before I cued him out with a nice little hand target that he loves so much, okay? So we're gonna make a point of kind of using those quiet opportunities to acclimate him to our veterinary office and our medical areas, because as he grows and matures, there are going to be times when maybe he's not feeling himself, or he might have an ear infection, or heaven forbid he gets an injury and just is a little painful. And so we want him to be comfortable and confident in those spaces when he's feeling really good, so that when he is not feeling really good, he still understands the purpose of those areas and feels comfortable with people approaching and touching and maybe doing some uncomfortable things to him. Before we finished in that treatment area, though, we also worked outside, and I had the opportunity to practice our It's Your Choice game that we've been building on the past week or so with dogs, okay? So it's going to look a little different, obviously, than tossing a treat behind you while you're moving around, but the basic principle is the same. The plan, if you see a dog while you're out with him on a walk, is to capture that moment that he looks to the other dog with your marker of yep, which is going to cause his head, sir, why, sir? It's going to cause his head to whip right back to you. Yeah, yep, good boy, which you can mark for again and then give him a cookie. Okay, so I'm going to use our little toucan friend that he is obsessed with now as an example in this scenario. So imagine, I'm just going to toss the toucan across the room here. Yep, good boy. Good job. And the minute he looks after that, yep, good boy, I'm going to use my marker, which is going to make his head whip back around to me. And that, yep, good boy, that earns him a cookie, okay? Now you do want to be careful here about the timing and mechanics of your treat delivery. Yep, good boy. Because what you don't want to do is start reaching for those treats before you've actually marked the behavior you want. He is zeroed in on this pouch. He knows once this pouch is over your shoulder and kind of sitting on your hip, this is where the cookies are coming from. So if he sees your hand reach for it, yep, good boy, or even hears the treats jingle around in the bag with your fingers, that's what he's going to respond to. So you want to make a point of capturing the behavior you like with your marker before you make any move for that treat pouch. So one more time here, Mr. Toucan is hanging out right under the camera. Yep, good boy, good job. I marked with yep as soon as Silas's eyes locked onto that toucan, and that caused his head to whip back around to me. That's when I reached for the treat pouch. Now, you probably also saw that I used a lot of verbal praise in between my marker and the cookie delivery. That's very important, especially, when you're working with interactive distractions like toys, dogs, people, etc. Because the time between the marker of yep and your ability to get that treat and get it to him is actually just enough time for him to say, Moms doesn't have anything for me, I'm going to just refocus on that distraction and maybe try to go after it, whether it's to play or say hi or bark at it. So use that verbal praise in between your marker of yep and your ability to actually grab a hold of the treat you plan to give him to keep his focus and his attention on you. You can even pair it, yep, with a bit of a retreat, good boy, from the distraction to build some buffer space between you and whatever it is that caught Silas's attention. Because the farther away you are from that distraction, the less intense of a distraction it's going to be for Silas. And the easier it's going to be for him to maintain his focus on you. Yep, good boy. Good job. And then you can move past it without losing control of him or him throwing his body around like he likes to do. Okay? So we did that. We did that with dogs. We did that with people today. And then we did a little more focus on the controlled version of that It's Your Choice, where we were walking together and I tossed a treat behind me. So keep practicing that more formal, controlled distraction session in your house, anywhere else that you feel confident training with him. And when you're out and about with him on walks, try to capture moments of distraction when you see other dogs exercising, or if you see a bicyclist, maybe that's something that usually sets him off, or birds, or wildlife. Yep, good boy. Capture the moment that he looks at them without pulling towards them or vocally reacting or anything like that. And then mark that, use verbal praise to keep his focus back on you as you grab a cookie and work your way past that distraction, okay? Dr. Moser did mention that he could maybe stand to gain a little weight. The last few weeks that he's come in to work with us, he's been a pretty steady 42, 43 pounds, and he's due for a good growth spurt. So maybe look into increasing his daily K-count intake, maybe by a quarter or a half a cup per day, just to see if he can maintain that steady weight gain that we need for our puppies to maintain. Yeah. Dobermans are meant to be sleek, yes, but we want to only be able to really see this back rib. Right now he's got some nice definition of the last 3 ribs here. So he could stand to maybe fill out a little bit more and get a little more cookies. You can always make him work for the cookies. Just throw an extra half cup of kibble in here for his treats on a day-to-day basis. And then the rest of his meals are staying the same. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions about our exercises today. And I will define what we call the threshold for his distractions. So, Silas. Yeah. The threshold being the distance from a distraction at which point he just cannot focus on you. He's just completely zoned in to a dog or a cat or something else. And your goal for these exercises is to stay outside of that threshold. So you want to stay farther away from the distraction to keep Silas's focus on you and on working with you. Okay? Would you do a good job?